This is the face of a girl who came to Hollywood with nothing but a suitcase and a dream. Her name was Elizabeth Short. She was 22 years old. She had dark wavy hair, blue eyes, and a smile that could light up a room. But this story isn't about her smile. It's about what happened after the world stopped seeing it. Los Angeles, 1947. The City of Angels. A place where dreams were manufactured like assembly line cars. Shiny on the outside, hollow on the inside. The war had just ended. Soldiers were coming home. And Hollywood was selling the world a fantasy. But on the morning of January 15th, in a quiet, empty lot on the south side of the city, that fantasy shattered. Something was found in the tall grass. Something that would haunt Los Angeles and the world for the next 80 years. This is the story of the Black Dahlia, the most infamous unsolved murder in American history. And I promise you, the truth is stranger, darker, and more heartbreaking than anything Hollywood ever put on screen. The Black Dahlia, a name she never chose, a name given to her in death, a name that turned a real woman into a legend, and a mystery that has never been solved. Where her story really begins. Elizabeth Short was born on July 29, 1924, in Boston, Massachusetts. Her father, Cleo, built miniature golf courses for a living. Her mother, Phoebe, was a homemaker. Life was simple. Life was ordinary. And for a while, life was good. Elizabeth was one of 5 sisters. 5 girls growing up in a small house, sharing clothes, sharing secrets, dreaming about what life could be. But when the Great Depression hit in 1929, everything changed. Cleo Short lost his business. He faked his own death, staged his car near a bridge, and simply disappeared. Phoebe was left alone to raise 5 daughters with almost nothing. Elizabeth grew up knowing what it felt like to be abandoned, to wonder why you weren't enough for someone to stay. She was shy but beautiful. She loved the movies. She'd sit in dark theaters for hours, watching women on screen live glamorous lives. And she'd think, that could be me. At 17, Elizabeth left home. She headed for Florida, then California, then back again, always chasing something she could never quite name. She was looking for her father in a way, looking for love, looking for a place where she belonged. And she believed with all her heart that Hollywood was that place. Elizabeth arrived in Los Angeles in the summer of 1946. She checked into cheap hotels, rooming houses, and sometimes nowhere at all. The Biltmore Hotel, grand, golden, and impossibly beautiful, became a place she'd visit just to feel like she belonged to a world that didn't quite want her yet. She dressed impeccably, always in black. Black dresses, black shoes, a black tailored suit with white gloves. She turned heads everywhere she went. People noticed Elizabeth Short. Men offered to buy her dinner. Women whispered when she walked by. She had that thing, that indefinable quality that Hollywood was supposed to reward. But the auditions never came. The callbacks never happened. Elizabeth wasn't an actress. She was a dreamer. And in a city that chews dreamers up and spits them out, that's a dangerous thing to be. She survived on the kindness of strangers, the generosity of men she barely knew, and the stubborn belief that tomorrow would be different. She rode the streetcars up and down the city, from Hollywood to downtown, from Sunset to the sea. She wrote letters home telling her mother that everything was wonderful, that she was happy, that things were about to change. But the letters were lies. Beautiful, hopeful lies. And time was running out. January 15, 1947. A Wednesday morning. The fog hung low over Leimert Park, a quiet neighborhood on the south side of Los Angeles. The lot at 39th and Norton was empty. Just weeds, dry grass, and cracked sidewalks. Nothing special. Nothing remarkable. Until that morning. A young mother named Betty Berzinger was walking with her 3-year-old daughter, heading to a shoe repair shop. She glanced into the vacant lot and saw something white in the grass. At first, she thought it was a broken mannequin, a store display maybe dumped on the side of the road. Then she looked closer, and she started to scream. Police arrived within minutes. What they found would become the most horrifying crime scene in Los Angeles history. I won't describe the details out of respect for Elizabeth, and because some things don't need to be repeated. But what I will tell you is this. Whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. This was not random. This was not impulsive. This was calculated, deliberate, and deeply personal. Before the police could even secure the scene, the press arrived. Photographers with speed graphic cameras, reporters shouting questions, flashbulbs popping in the gray morning light. By that afternoon, Elizabeth Short's face was on every newspaper in America, and a reporter at the Los Angeles Examiner gave her the name that would follow her into eternity: the Black Dahlia. The medical examiner's report was clinical, cold, just facts and measurements on a typewritten page. But behind those sterile words was a story of unimaginable cruelty. Elizabeth had been tortured. She had suffered, and the precision of the act suggested someone with medical knowledge, or at the very least, someone who had done this before. Days later, the Examiner newspaper received a package. Inside were Elizabeth's belongings, her birth certificate, her social security card, photographs, along with a note made from cut-out newspaper letters. It read, "Here is Dahlia's belongings. Letter to follow." The letter never came, but the message was clear. Whoever killed Elizabeth Short wanted the world to know. The belongings had been carefully washed with gasoline, every fingerprint, every trace of DNA wiped clean. This wasn't someone panicking. This was someone playing a game. And the LAPD was losing. The newspapers printed everything. Every rumor, every theory, every whisper. They called it the crime of the century. And in the frenzy of headlines and speculation, the real Elizabeth Short, the shy girl from Boston who loved movies and wrote hopeful letters home, began to disappear. Over the years, the list of suspects grew longer and stranger. More than 60 people confessed to the murder, most of them seeking fame or mentally unwell, or simply lonely enough to want the attention. Detectives pinned photos to corkboards, connected names with red string, and followed leads that went nowhere. The case file grew to over 1,000 pages. But one name keeps coming back. Dr. George Hodel, a brilliant, wealthy Los Angeles physician who lived in this house. The Soden House, a dark, Mayan-style mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Hodel was investigated in 1947. He was recorded by hidden police microphones. On those tapes, he was heard saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia. They couldn't prove it now." Hodel had medical training. He had a dark history. Accused of assaulting his own daughter. He had connections to other unsolved cases. And his own son, Steve Hodel, a retired LAPD detective, spent decades investigating his father, and concluded that he was the killer. But the evidence, while compelling, was never enough for a conviction. George Hodel fled to the Philippines in 1950 and never faced justice. There were other suspects too. A bellhop, a shoe salesman, a nightclub owner. Each one a dead end. Each one a reminder that sometimes the truth doesn't want to be found. Elizabeth Short is buried in Oakland, California, Mountain View Cemetery. A simple headstone. No grand memorial. No Hollywood star. But people still visit. They leave flowers. They leave notes. They stand there in the quiet and think about a girl who came to Los Angeles with a dream and never made it home. The case is still officially open. Somewhere in the Los Angeles Police Department, in a dusty archive room, there's a box with her name on it. Inside are photographs, witness statements, and decades of dead ends. Every few years, someone claims to have solved it. A new book, a new theory, a new confession. But the file remains open. The case remains cold. But here's why this story still matters. Not because of the mystery, not because of the horror, but because of her. Elizabeth Short was a real person. She laughed. She dreamed. She wrote letters to her mother. She believed in a better tomorrow. And she deserves to be remembered not as a case file, not as a headline, not as the Black Dahlia, but as Elizabeth. Just Elizabeth. A girl who deserved so much more than what the world gave her. If this story moved you, if it made you think, then do one thing for me. Remember her name. Not the Dahlia. Elizabeth. And if you want more stories like this, stories that go deeper, stories that matter, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. Some cases are closed, some cases are cold, and some cases stay with you forever. This has been the Black Dahlia. Thank you for watching.